Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We are brought to you by Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym, along with Dingman's Collision Center, 4 metro area locations, and a frequent Best of Omaha award winner. My name is Jeff Beals, your co-host. Glad you've decided to join us. You're not going to find another show in the metro area that talks about what we talk about, and that's the growth and development of your favorite city. But before we do that, I want to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker and all-around good, albeit sometimes controversial guy, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning to you. And it's a midsummer day. We had a bit of a weather tragedy this week, but I got to give Omaha people credit. They're coming together, getting things cleaned up. I tell you what, here in the Dundee area, a lot of mature trees. It's kind of sickening to see them on the ground.
Very sad, and we had to take an alternate route on Underwood. They're getting a lot of work done. I didn't know the city had so many trucks.
Trees.
Yeah, trucks that cleaning out. And I've heard. I mean, this thing was far and wide. It wasn't just a swath like the tornado. This thing just seems like it was wide.
Yeah, I was at the office when it hit. I was getting ready to go home and received a call from my household, which was way further southwest than the office, saying, "Don't come home." I've been waiting for that call. It finally came. Don't come home. Yeah. But so I didn't, and wow, it was impressive. It was impressive, but it's been rough. I mean, so many people are still without power, and so all of you Grow Omaha listeners, be tough out there. Feel for you if you're still dealing without the electricity. I know a lot of you have had some pretty serious damage too. I've seen a lot of trees on cars and roofs and everything else. Hang in there, and we'll get through it like we do with anything else. Rough year for weather. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago, Trenton, Interstate 29 was underwater from Missouri River flooding. We had the tornado in late April.
Yeah, on Arbor Day.
Yeah, that was kind of a little ironic. Well, for happier news, we do have a Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review written by our good friend Chris Corey, who does all of our restaurant reviews. He also does movie reviews as well. If you're thinking about going to watch a movie this summer, go check growomaha.com and look up our movie reviews. But he did a restaurant review, as he does every 2 weeks. And this week it was Via Farina, which is the Italian restaurant in Little Italy, not too far from 10th and Pacific, and
Blue Barn Theater.
Yeah, right to the southeast of it.
It's in Boxcar 10.
And this review is very positive, and I've heard so much good about Via Farina. I'm not sure I've ever had it.
I've had it a handful of times. It's been a while, so I'm glad Chris did it. Chris is getting so prolific with reviews. He called me up the other day and just told me what he thought of me. I was taken back.
Was it a positive review? Mixed results?
It wasn't as positive as some of these restaurants he's been reviewing. Well, better than some of the movies he's been reviewing, though.
That's true. He tends to be a little harder on the movies than the restaurants, and that's because we typically choose very good, very popular, or new restaurants that are making a splash on the scene. At any rate,
what I like about Chris's reviews, unlike some others, is that Chris will certainly, he goes into in depth and gives you angles you haven't thought about, but he also acknowledges that everybody has different tastes. So if he doesn't like something, he doesn't excoriate the restaurant. You know, there's service issues and things like that obviously he'll point out. But if it's a taste issue, some people like more salt, some people like more sauce. And so I think he's been very fair.
Well, you can read that review of Via Farina as well as every other review we've ever done in the Grow Omaha Eats restaurant series by going to growomaha.com and clicking on reviews in the navigation bar. It'll have a drop-down menu, and you can do the movies or the Eats restaurant reviews. All right, let's get into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. They know mortgages. They've known mortgages for 30 years. Holly Schneidewin and her team do an outstanding job. But as we always say, if you are thinking about buying a new house, taking the plunge, you're probably going to need a loan. And if you do, you want to call Holly. Doesn't matter whether you're going to go traditional or what we call conventional, FHA, VA. They even do some specialty loans. They take care of you. And we always recommend using a mortgage broker like Eagle Mortgage because they shop the market. They're not beholden to one bank, and so they can get the best solution for you. And when I say for you, I mean it, because they work on customizing things and doing what is best for each individual client. You can find them in person, 114th and Davenport, or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Trenton, a couple big stories were in the World Herald this week that deserve a little bit of analysis from you and me. And the first one is the Nebraska Department of Economic Development is reviewing an application from an unidentified developer. We think we might know who it is, but we don't know for sure. And this developer wants to create a $1.7 billion Good Life District in Papillion. It would create nearly 3,000 jobs. Now, these Good Life Districts, people have heard us talking about them a lot in the last year. These are a new economic development tool that the state of Nebraska created. They're designed to develop premier attractions, premier real estate developments that would appeal to and attract a lot of out-of-state visitors. Now, the most famous Good Life District approved so far is Nebraska Crossing in Gretna, but Bellevue has had one approved. That will be where the new water park is going. Grand Island has one approved, and then 192nd and West Dodge Road approved a Good Life District. Before we get into the Good Life Districts, Trenton, I want you to kind of give us your thoughts on what would this $1.7 billion thing in Papillion be?
Well, Papillion is a big swath. Mayor David Black does a great job over there. There's some really prolific developers, and you've got 60 acres right next to the Storm Chasers Park, Warner Park, at about 120th to 126th and Highway 370 on the north side. I can imagine that being included in it. There's a lot of keep in mind that they can do up to 2,000 acres, and I don't know how.
Do they have to be contiguous? I
think it can be loosely contiguous. I don't know that as a fact, but I believe from right-of-ways and things like that. But for instance, BHI and Birchwood Homes, Jerry Torzon, who's a prolific developer all over the metro, has been doing it a long time. I could see him being involved in it. I don't know that it's him. You got Jesse Calabretto, Calabretto Building Group. They're doing the Tower District at 84th and 370. Now, it doesn't have to be just one developer. For instance, in Gretna, there are several large development pieces owned by different groups and companies. So it's basically, the way I understand Nebraska Good Life Transformation Act is right now there's only 5 allowed. So if this one gets approved, unless they increase the number of Good Life districts, this would be the last one. Now, if one falls out and they don't get a vote, there's a couple different ways to do it, I understand. And I know that Gretna has postponed their vote by request, I think, from the applicant and the Department of Economic Development, 192nd and West Dodge Road, to put together 2,000 acres. And not just 2,000 acres, you have all this development, and you can have mixed use, you can have entertainment, you can have multifamily, you can have single family, all this kind of stuff. But it's all about the sales tax, because the state of Nebraska, instead of collecting 5.5% of that sales tax, they would forego 2.75%. And there's going to be some kind of, like in Gretna, there's a quasi-governmental group that will collect that 2.75, and then the applicant and other developers can apply for it, if you will, and they have to make so much development. Now, what's interesting is they have to, within 10 years, they have to build 75% of a minimum threshold of new construction. So Nebraska Crossing already exists, and that generates a lot of sales tax, okay? But you got to imagine having a lot of sales tax at 192nd and West Dodge Road, and that has to be $1 billion worth of new development over 10 years, and they have to complete 75% of it, or they lose that designation.
Well, we'll keep our eye on that one. And then you would think a $1.7 billion project would be the biggest news of the week. It is not. The University of Nebraska Medical Center is seeking approval from the Board of Regents at their August 8th meeting what's known as a program statement outlining initial plans for the new $2.19 billion hospital clinical learning center. Basically, they're looking for authorization to spend $50 million in existing philanthropic funds for doing the design work. This is not terribly new in that we knew this was coming. We knew the Med Center was planning a $2.2 billion new hospital. It's the first phase of what we've been knowing and calling Project Next, but this is moving it a little bit forward. Now, the World Herald had a very interesting article about this just yesterday or the day before. And one of the things that stood out that is new about it, first of all, it'll be over 1.2 million square feet, not a small building. And the thing that was rather shocking is that UNMC's Associate Vice Chancellor is quoted in the World Herald article saying the building could be as tall as 400 feet. Now, to give you a little reference here, she's saying that would be 15 floors that would be above ground. Typically, when we talk about building height, we talk about what's above ground. Maybe they're counting the handful of floors that would be below ground. But if it were to reach 380 to 400 feet, as depicted in the World Herald, that would make it currently the third tallest building in the city and fourth tallest after the Mutual of Omaha Tower is done. The other thing that's kind of weird is those would be some really tall floors.
Right.
Because if you take 380 feet and divide it by 15 stories, that would be 25 feet per floor. I mean, we know hospital floors typically these days are taller than office building floors, but wow, could this building really be 380 to 400 feet tall?
I think that it'll be something less. And you and I have talked about this, and I think 300 feet would be a wonderful thing. We're talking about, is it Farnham or what's that on Saddle Creek?
Yeah, it's located on the southeast corner of Farnham and Saddle Creek, where the old Monroe Mire used to be and was torn down about a year or two ago. And it's 7 acres, and this has been designated for the Med Center expansion for a long, long time. Saying none of this is new except for some of these specifications of the building being so tall.
But we've talked over the years, probably 5 years, that Nebraska is the first of 5 locations around the country that Department of Defense, Homeland Security, this next project, which the Board of Regents and the state legislature and city of Omaha have all weighed in on to have a self-contained teaching hospital, but also to cure infectious diseases and things like that. That's still yet to come, right?
Yeah, this $2.2 billion is the hospital component. It really does not include what the Med Center hopes to do with the federal government, which I believe is Department of Defense and Department of Homeland Security and maybe a few other things. So that's all yet to come. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the news of the day right now. 2 very, very big projects. A lot of other news things to talk about later in the hour. But I have to tell you that for the next segment, we're going to talk about a very cool entertainment option coming to Omaha. It's called the Fowling Warehouse. Fowling is spelled Fowling, Fowling Warehouse. If you don't know what Fowling is, well, you're out of it and you're not with the times, but stick with us because we're going to define it in a little bit when we bring on our good friend Mark Wolf, owner of the Fowling Warehouse. But for now, we're going to take our first break of the hour. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. Now, speaking of Cheer Athletics, a couple weeks ago, we had the owner of Cheer Athletics, Craig Wolf, on the show. A good friend of ours. Trenton and I graduated from high school with him. Very loyal sponsor of Grow Omaha. We have his brother on today. So we had Craig Wolf before. Now we have Mark Wolf. Mark Wolf, good morning and welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, good morning. Good morning, Omaha.
Well, there's other than the fact that I've known Mark since he was in preschool. The real reason why we have Mark Wolf on the show is he's the owner of a brand new business, which is going to make a big impression in the Omaha entertainment scene. It's called Fowling Warehouse. Mark, first of all, congratulations on the new business. Understand you just opened.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, we opened on Thursday.
So tell us, what is Fowling?
That's it might be hard to believe, but that's the number one question I get is what is Fowling? So you can imagine it's a hybrid game between football and bowling, okay, with a cornhole type setup. So on a cornhole game, you have 35 feet apart, and instead of on the pin deck with holes, we put bowling pins. And instead of throwing bean bags into the hole, you're throwing a football at the bowling pins, set again 35 feet apart. Now, inside of our facility, each lane is 10 feet apart. So you can have up to 10 people on a lane or 100 people over 10 lanes.
Now, where is Fowling Warehouse located?
5585 North 90th. We're 2 blocks north of 90th and Fort on the east side, right next to the Altitude Trampoline Park.
And you got a great mix there. We were talking about that during the break. Is you got Baker's is over there, Planet Fitness,
Right.
and so you're a good mix. You're right on the 90th Street corridor. You're not too far from Nebraska Humane Society, but you don't allow pets, I assume.
Correct.
Excellent. You got 2 full bars, and it's really also, Mark Wolf, it's an event space as much as it is a new sport that people have to learn about.
That's correct. We have a 3-prong approach. 1 is families and friends. Number 2 is businesses. And number 3 is philanthropy.
Nice.
So back to the business part, when in my previous life, we would do a lot of company outings for the couple hundred employees we had. And come to find out, we would hold a meeting somewhere, but then we would have groups peel off to different locations because there wasn't an activity in Omaha that could accommodate all of us. So some would go swing a golf club, or some would go to a bar, or some would go bowling, or anything like that. So when we were designing the Fowling Warehouse, it was important to me that we carve out a section of the space for a dedicated meeting space. And then after the meeting, speaker events, whatever the case, you can actually do the activity.
And how many people can that hold?
We have an occupancy of 1,200 people.
Wow.
We have 30 lanes of Fowling. Each lane can accommodate 10 people. And so we can have 300 people Fowling at one time. And then on the wings, we could have people waiting and that sort of thing.
Now, how many pickleball courts do you have?
0.
Oh, my God. It's
No
the first
pickleball.
business, there's dentist's office in this town with pickleball courts. It's like, you're nothing if you don't have pickleball courts.
We must be nothing.
So
wouldn't
We're
say
trying.
So, Mark, with Fowling Warehouse, we understand it. So is this a franchise? Because we know there's Fowling warehouses around the country, right?
It is, correct.
Where did it start, and where are some other Fowling warehouse locations nearby?
Right. That's the second most question I get. So after we sold our business in 2019, after the pandemic, I found myself missing, being part of something, missing a team, missing the high fives, the hurrahs, the congrats, and all that. So I wanted to start a business that had 2 concepts: simple and fun. Okay. And so I did a lot of research, and I stumbled upon this business in Detroit, Michigan, called the Fowling Warehouse. And it was funny because I thought they misspelled their website. I thought it was supposed to be Bowling Warehouse. So I was about to call them and say, "Do you know your website's misspelled?" So I called a relative who lived in Detroit, and I asked him, "Have you ever heard of the Fowling Warehouse?" He goes, "Yeah, man, it's an awesome place." And so I called the owners and asked if they're expanding, and they said, as a matter of fact, we just built our Indianapolis store. And so I flew up there the next week, met with the owners, and as soon as I walked in, I felt this was a place for Omaha. Omaha needs something like this. A climate-controlled indoor entertainment venue that could host families, businesses, philanthropy, all sorts of people. When I walked in, it was amazing. They had all sorts of different people from all walks of life, had one common goal: knock down pins with a football. And it was a great, fun environment. So it took us about 4 years to find a space, develop design, and so here we are. We're the 9th store in the United States. The other stores include, again, Detroit, Indianapolis, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, Cincinnati, Atlanta, Dallas, Kansas City, and now we're Omaha.
That is fantastic.
Wow. And for those that aren't aware, your family built, it was cutting edge pioneers basically in the medical staffing business called CNA Industries. Mm-hmm. And you were big on the training side of it?
Big on the training side of it, correct.
Yeah. But it was not a small company, ladies and gentlemen. And most of the, it's well known that Omaha is maybe the birthplace of a lot of medical staffing firms, but pretty much all of them came out of CNA Industries. Kathy Wolf, your your mother and
Larry Courtnidge.
Larry Courtnidge, sorry, Larry, who really built a business, and you and Craig and a lot of other people came in and built a very sizable business, and you left your mark on that industry about 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, we've been blessed. Hats off to the hundreds of employees who made that happen.
Yeah.
And so then, Mark, with the Fowling Warehouse, if people want to come out to it, it's near 90th and Maple. Do you just show up? Do you have to make a reservation? How does this work?
Everybody that comes in has to have a waiver signed for accidents. The best way to find out our process is just go to our website. That's fowlingomaha.com. On there, you'll understand. You'll read about the processes. You're able to sign and fill out and sign an online waiver. You can make lane reservations as well. We do offer a segment, 5 lanes of walk-in, and this is for groups under 4. So anybody under 4 groups can come in, 4 people, pay $15 and stay as long as you want, full as long as you want. And it's type of pool hall setup. So the winner keeps playing and the loser comes out and you exchange the game and that sort of thing.
Before I turn it over to Trenton to wrap it up, I do want to ask a question for a friend.
Okay.
And maybe this friend is Trenton. Let's say you're not a very good quarterback. How hard is this?
It's not easy. It's challenging. In fact, everybody comes in that tries it says, this is a lot harder than it looks, because you're throwing down at an object rather than across, your typical football pattern or receiver, whatever the case.
Because when Trenton was playing quarterback, he was used to hitting them right in the numbers.
Right in the numbers, right.
Usually they're
without
back,
the helmet,
but
with the helmet. The face guard got in the way.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not easy. It's a challenge. But what we do, I have to mention this too, is it's called a bonk. So the number 5 pin in the middle is a red pin. You knock that red pin down, it falls off the pin deck by itself. It's called a bonk. Big train horn inside of the facility. Neighbors might get a little upset. We're not sure yet. But we have a bonk celebration.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It's a great
It's
thing.
not like
It happens,
sinking the 8-ball too soon.
Correct.
Okay.
And we get about 10 a month. We will be getting about 10 a month. Which
But I heard you can't knock down any of the other pins. It's got to be just that one?
Just the middle 5 pin, which sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? But these other locations, it happens about 15 times a month.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
So my last question is, can I bring my own Fowling shoes?
Yeah. Not leave the cleats at home, Trent. You might slide around a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, bring your own Fowling shoes. We do not serve food. BYOF, bring your own food. Outside beverages are prohibited. We have 2 full bars within the facility.
So
what
bring
kind
your own food, but bring your thirst.
Seriously, would you recommend wearing tennis shoes? Probably not sandals.
Tennis shoes, something comfortable. They have rubber soles.
Okay. I'll wear
There's
a
some
cup.
sandals.
Okay, that's a good idea for you. Okay, well, Mark Wolf, thank you for sharing this information with us. Best of success. And also, thank you for bringing a cool entertainment business to Omaha. We're trying to become more fun city that has so many entertainment options. This is a really nice addition. So kudos to you and good luck to you and your team at Fowling Warehouse.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate the time.
Our friend Mark Wolf from Fowling Warehouse going to take our middle of the show break. And when we come back, Trent and I are going to have a few little news items to share with you that we didn't have time to share in the first part, so you don't want to miss any of this. You are listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Trenton Maggot. Grow Omaha is brought to you by Cheer Athletics along with Dingman's Collision Center. That is the Best of Omaha award winner many times over when it comes to car collision repair. They have 4 metro area locations. All of them do an outstanding job. Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics, sponsors of Grow Omaha. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. We have a lot of things to share with you this week on the Spotlight, but we want to thank Noddle Companies for making it possible, bringing it to you. You've heard that name, Noddle Companies, is because they've developed so many blockbuster, premier projects in the Omaha area. They work out of state too, but we really care about what they do around here. Exarban Village, River's Edge and Council Bluffs, Steel Ridge in the Gretna Papillion area, the Builders District in North Downtown, Village Point Medical Center out west. They've done so many corporate headquarters in recent years. Valmont's global headquarters in Hartwood Preserve, Noddle Company's project. HDR global headquarters in Exarban Village, Noddle Company's project. If you want to learn more about that company, just go to noddlecompanies.com. Also, they have some great Facebook pages. Like, for instance, they run the Exarban Village and the Interrail Facebook pages. Check those out. All right, so what do we have today? First of all, Betty Ray's Ice Cream will open its first Nebraska location just outside Exarban Village. It'll be at 6307 Center Street. Opening is planned for early September. This is supposed to be a really good place. It's out of the Kansas City area. It's become popular fast. They have 26 core flavors plus some specialty flavors. They're going to have a Nebraska-themed ice cream to be revealed soon.
Beef brickle?
All of their flavors are handmade and hand-scooped, award-winning. They have 5 existing locations in Kansas City. This will be the first one outside of Kansas City. Okay, so that's coming to Exarban Village area, just outside. Now, inside Exarban Village, in the Interrail Food Hall, Rollin' Sweets, which is one of those rolled ice cream places, they're opening an express location. Well, they've opened an express location.
They're from North Omaha, right?
I believe so. And then
Young gentleman that opened one up.
Was that the young guy?
Yeah.
The super young guy? Okay, that's what I thought. Anyway, so they have opened an express location inside the Interrail Food Hall at Exarban Village. And then finally, we'll get some more details about this, but I just happened to notice when I was doing my Grow Omaha tour yesterday, River's Edge, which is the Noddle Company's development right along the Missouri River at the foot of the Bob Carey Missouri River pedestrian bridge. We've got like 4 or 5 multifamily buildings all under construction at once, which looks like they're going to basically complete the eastern part of that River's Edge. Now, River's Edge still has one big spot in the middle that we have been told is kind of long-term reserved for a high-rise, but that project's really coming along at the foot of the river bridge.
Waiting for the Mid-American Tower that has the all kinds of climbing devices, and you can slide down a steel windy rod, it seems like, with a harness, and then simulated caves and lookout points and stuff like that. Hopefully that still gets underway. Yeah,
it'll be a great project, part of, or kind of like on the northwest corner of River's Edge that the city of Council Bluffs is putting in. We expect construction on that to start fairly soon, perhaps any time. And that is your Noddle Company's commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you, of course, by noddlecompanies.com. Well, we got a couple of other news items to share with you today. First of all, we anticipate the tower crane at the Mutual of Omaha construction site, 14th and Farnham, to be extended another 150 feet sometime really soon. It looks like part of the contraption they use to extend these tower cranes has been applied to said tower crane. And we know if you look at the concrete core, it's almost to the level of the tower crane. So we're going to see some more visual progress there. And then another thing we wanted to point out while we have the chance, got a new multifamily development coming to an area just southeast of 204th and Dodge. It'll actually be 204th and Farnham. It's going to be called the Alcove Apartments, 170,000 square foot building, 98 unit apartment building, 4 stories on top of basement level parking. So that's kind of one of the urban style apartment projects we're seeing so many of in Omaha, but way out on 204th Street.
Absolutely. A lot of multifamily going up.
All right, we're going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be time for the Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round. I'm looking at the list, and there are so many things on there that you're going to want to hear about, so don't go away. Lots of news in a short period of time coming right up. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service, brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center. It's time for our Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, appropriately brought to you by Perkins Kreitzer Construction. They are a full-service Class A general contractor based right here in Omaha, serving this metro area, but also Lincoln, Grand Island, Norfolk, Kearney, North Platte, Sioux City, the region, if you will. And we've got some Perkins Kreitzer Construction news today. They are the contractor for the new Ziggy's Coffee building. Now, Ziggy's Coffee, this is out of Colorado. It's a coffee chain that has gone national. They do have a couple of Nebraska locations already, one in Lincoln and one in Fairbury. This first Omaha location will be at 201st and Q Street. And the building is enclosed. It's like one of those smaller, looks like a drive-through only or drive-through primarily coffee shop, but it's supposed to be really good. Ziggy's Coffee coming. That's a Perkins Kreitzer construction project. Trent, did you want to say something about that? You looked like you were about ready to go,
No.
Okay. But you can learn more about Perkins Kreitzer Construction by checking them out online. If you go to their website, just do PC Construction.
P-C.
P-C construction.com. They do that for short sometimes. But if you're looking for a contractor for your project, they do a great job. We've had Dave Kreitzer, one of the owners and the guy who runs it, here in the studio, and you may have caught that episode. They do a fantastic job, Perkins Kreitzer Construction. All right, a few things on the docket, some cool stuff. The Vault Craft Cocktails, a new speakeasy-themed bar, will open soon inside The Collective. This is at Regency Landing, 107th and Pacific Street. It'll be down below. It's kind of, it's a speakeasy, so it's supposed to be very secret.
Yes.
And the bar features original wood detailing in tribute to the former Omaha National Bank. So I can't wait to go try that. That's
I've been in this
soon.
space, but it wasn't done yet.
We'll have to go check it out. Burger Detour plans to hold a grand opening Monday, this coming Monday, for its second location southeast of 204th and Pacific. The original Burger Detour opened earlier this year at 183rd and Maple. I've not tried it yet.
I've tried it. It's pretty good.
I have to get out there and try it. Maybe I'll just skip the first location and go to the second and make that one my first.
Yeah.
Joslin Art Museum has selected Omaha-based Clean Slate Food Company as its partner in the on-site Durham Cafe. Now, the museum has been closed for 2 years because of a massive renovation and expansion, but it reopens on September 10th. The new dining area features seasonal outdoor seating and a coffee bar serving archetype coffee from Omaha. The cafe will be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but dinner only on those nights when the museum is open late.
I'm excited to go back to the museum. It's been so long. In 2 years without it, it's a long time. And Clean Slate, I'm a little bit nervous about that. It sounds like where you go to get a cleanse.
I don't know if that's necessarily the intention, but I suspect it's probably going to be healthy. And I agree with you.
Because it's probably better to do that than to go to Taco Bell to get a cleanse.
And I agree with you that it's going to be exciting to go back to Joslin because it has been a long time. And not just to see the parts we know and love, but this new addition from the outside is an absolutely beautiful building. Well, going from Clean Slate Food Company to something on the other end of the spectrum, a new McDonald's restaurant is under construction in the Gretna Landing development, 195th and Highway 370. That's the development where we believe Fleet Farm will be going. An apartment complex has gone vertical and several retail pad sites are under construction or already open in that area. Ruhlman's Steakhouse has now officially opened in Ashland. Trenton, I know you had Willie Thiessen and executive chef John Benton on the show a few weeks ago talking about it, but it is now open. This is part of this new development in Ashland that also features a Bryan Health Clinic and a Runza, and it's called Oxbow Crossing. Now, here in Dundee, because KFAB broadcasts live from the penthouse studio high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee, here in Dundee, La Beau, which is a bodega, will open soon below the newish Ude Lali restaurant, 49th and Underwood. That used to be called Mark's.
Yep.
We loved Mark's. The business will offer small bites, wine, cocktails to go. A soft opening will begin next week with a temporary opening yesterday, I believe. Anyway, got to go check this out. It'll be cool to have a little bodega right here in Dundee. I'm sure it'll do well. Nail Nirvana Beauty Spa recently opened in Westwood Plaza near 123rd and West Center Road. And then this is kind of cool. Everyone loves Valas, right? And we're not that far away from Valas season.
I don't.
Okay, some people like Valas, and we're not that far away from Valas season. The Orchard will host 2 adults-only events this season at Valas Pumpkin Patch. One's called Sunset Orchard Cider Tasting and Valas Orchard Farm to Table Dinner. The events will include apple picking, guided tastings, and a live fire hog roast described as meat theater by the Pumpkin Patch on social media.
Theater.
So all of you who are not a bunch of fun haters, like the guy sitting next to me, can go out there to Valas and have a good time and enjoy that this fall. Trenton, maybe this is something that'll make you happier.
Yes.
Starting August 6th, Runza will offer 75-cent burgers every Tuesday throughout the month in celebration of its 75th anniversary.
Now you're speaking my
Is
language.
that more your speed instead of talking?
Does that include the pretzel bun?
I don't know. Do you like the pretzel bun?
I love the pretzel bun.
All right. Can we throw in a couple of other things here? The Omaha City Council approved the liquor license application submitted by the operators of the future Champong and Ghost Donkey. These are food and entertainment destinations coming to the Brick Line in the Mercantile District, north side of the ConAgra campus. So 10th and Harney area, really cool new building there. Champong first opened in Phoenix and combines duck pin bowling as opposed to Fowling. Also drinks and small plate food options. And then Ghost Donkey, which has locations in Denver, Las Vegas, and Phoenix, will open right there in that area. They have a mezcal and tequila-focused cocktail menu. And these openings are both planned for mid-September. I've poked my head, and both spaces are coming along nicely. And both of them are owned by Omaha-based Flagship Restaurant Group.
They do a great job, and I'm going to hold out for miniature Fowling.
Well, I don't think you need to wait
Tabletop Fowling.
Just go straight for the real stuff. We've got a Fowling warehouse at 90th and Maple.
Kind of like that paper football used to play.
3 million people have visited the renovated riverfront parks since the Gene Leahy Mall reopened a little over a year ago. 3 million people. That's fantastic. Keep using our beautiful new downtown facilities and keep using and enjoying everything that our city has to offer, folks. That's it for this week. That is your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round and the whole doggone show. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.